Hello and welcome back to An Old Man Watches, and today I'm going to be talking about the 1955 musical Guys and Dolls. And this film introduces us to Nathan Detroit, the operator of the longest running illegal craps game in New York City. Nathan's having great difficulty finding a place to run his latest game due to the police breathing down his neck, and he needs to find $1,000 in cash, quite a sum in the late 40s, which is when this is set, to secure a venue. Enter Sky Masterson, a high-rolling gambler who'll wager on almost anything. Nathan sees a chance to win the grand he needs and suckers Masterson into a stacked bet. Sky must persuade the straight-laced Sally Brown, member of the Save a Soul Association, which is a thinly disguised Salvation Army, to accompany him on a date to Havana, Cuba that very night. Fortunately for Masterson, and for the movie actually continuing, Ms. Brown has her own problems, and he might just be able to help her if only she'll have dinner with him first. So Guys and Dolls is a musical from the latter stages of the genre's golden era in Hollywood. It's adapted from a Broadway production of the same name and uses many of the songs from that production, including the signature tune Luck Be a Lady and the title tune Guys and Dolls. Curiously though, it omits the song A Bushel and a Peck, which had been a major hit of its own in the 50s. Apparently, producer Samuel Goldwyn was not a fan of the tune. The film was a critical and commercial success. It won the 1955 Golden Globe for Best Musical or Comedy, and in 1957, Variety magazine declared it to be the highest grossing film of the previous year. It came out sufficiently late in 55 that most of its earnings were in 56. Personally, I'm not sure it's Film of the Year candidate. But it is a solid, well-executed musical with catchy tunes. And if that's your kind of thing, you probably don't need to listen to any more of this review. But if you'd like a bit more detail, here goes. So the film is doubtless helped by its talented cast. Frank Sinatra steps into the shoes of Nathan Detroit, while Marlon Brando, at the time the biggest box office draw in the world, takes on the role of Sky Masterson. This was apparently a source of some tension on set. Sinatra had wanted the role of Masterson for himself. It's the real lead, after all, and lost out to Brando, a decision that must have been particularly galling to him given that this was a musical and Brando was not a trained singer. Playing opposite Brando's Masterson is Gene Simmons as Sally Brown. Simmons was not the first choice for the role. Both Grace Kelly and Deborah Kerr were offered the part, but were unavailable. She is, however, excellent. So good, in fact, that the director later commented, "I'm so happy I couldn't get Grace Kelly." Like Brando, Simmons was not a trained singer, but she proved to have a decent voice, and she was a tremendous actor, so I can't say that I disagree with the director's assessment. Both Brando and Simmons performed all of the singing for their roles without dubbing from professional singers, and I'm pleased to report that this went significantly better than Pierce Brosnan's attempt at a similar feat. If you've seen Mamma Mia, you'll know what I mean. Now, the script itself offers no surprises. I sincerely doubt I'm spoiling anything by telling you that Sky Masterson and Sally Brown will fall in love in the space of a single night in Havana, but are then torn apart when Miss Brown learns of Masterson's duplicative motives for the date. Surprise, surprise, Masterson, of course, then performs a selfless act that reveals his feelings for her true after all, and they get back together. I mean, this is a standard 101 ABC formula for romance stories, and the film doesn't vary from it one iota. But this lack of novelty isn't really a huge problem. The script does a good job of making you want to see Sky and Sally fall in love, and of giving them more credible reasons for nearly splitting up than are sometimes used in such fare. And it helps, of course, that both roles are played by very skilled and charismatic performers. But yeah, you're not going to get any surprises here. You're here for the tunes and the happy ending, not to get novelty, I guess. So if Guys and Dolls has good tunes, a great cast, and a fun script, is it an end-to-end winner? Well, not quite. The film does have a couple of flaws, in my opinion. The first is its length. Guys and Dolls runs 2.5 hours, which, given the pretty basic and familiar storyline, is a bit indulgent to my mind. For comparison, Singing in the Rain is a good 45 minutes shorter, and it's got at least as much going on plot-wise. It's also probably a little bit funnier, in my opinion. Then there's the matter of the subplot involving Nathan Detroit's engagement to nightclub singer Miss Adelaide. Now, you may be thinking, what subplot? Because I haven't mentioned it until now. And there's a good reason for that. It feels very undercooked and ancillary to the main narrative of Sky and Sally's relationship. From reading a plot summary of the original stage show, it looks like in that, Nathan Adelaide got a lot more time in the spotlight. And I suspect, given that that was a live performance, it was probably a necessity to give the actors playing Sky and Sally a bit of a break between live performances to rest their voice, change costumes, and be ready for the next scene. So you needed to give more time and attention to Nathan Detroit and Miss Adelaide. The film, of course, doesn't have that need because you film the scenes whenever you film the scenes and then you put them together in the order you need them. And it's taken advantage of that extra flexibility. But I think that that was probably a bad decision. In the Broadway show, the storylines and themes of the two romances support and reinforce one another to a much greater extent, at least based on my reading of the plot, than they do here. Now, these issues don't by any means ruin the movie. It's still a good, enjoyable watch. I just think with a few different decisions, it could have been even better. Next time, Godzilla rides again, and again, and again, and again. We'll be taking a whistle-stop tour through 6 of the 8 Godzilla films from the 1960s. But that's next time. Until then, thanks for watching this video, and I hope you enjoyed it.